Hallo, ich bin Eli Kadig, Unternehmerin und Marketing-Expertin seit 2007 und CEO von A Very Beloved Wedding seit 2014. In nur 2 Jahren habe ich den Sprung von Hochzeiten mit 40.000 Euro Budget zu Hochzeiten mit über 1 Million Euro Budget geschafft. Heute setzt meine Agentur europaweit Standards im Luxussegment. Doch der Weg dahin war alles andere als einfach. In diesem Podcast teile ich meine ehrlichen und ungeschminkten Wedding Confessions, echte Einblicke hinter die Kulissen von Premium-Hochzeiten und die Business-Erfolgsstrategien, die A Very Beloved Wedding zu einer der weltweit besten Hochzeitsplanungsagenturen gemacht haben. Hallo ihr lieben Badass Miracle Maker. Ich bin heute mit Dyana Dessar. She is Destination Wedding Planner based in Marbella for Indian weddings in all over the world,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So how long have you been doing this?
Hi. I've started the company about 16 years ago. Started generally doing all sorts of weddings, and then about 12 or 13 years ago, got my first big fat Indian wedding in Marbella, which was fantastic. A couple from Calgary, and we started from there, and then it's just gone on and on. About 2 or 3 years after that, I decided to niche market and just concentrate on that. Stop taking the other types of weddings and concentrate, learn our trade and our niche, and just stick to that. So about 16 years.
Wow. And how did you decide to take on a niche? Because a lot of people try to find a niche or are too broad positioned, right?
Yes.
Like they take on everything. And so how was this decision making process?
It was kind of a progression because, as I say, we used to do every type of wedding, which is normal when you start. And then I got this love from the first big one that I just mentioned. From that wedding, I got another wedding, and so it started to snowball. I actually went to a congress where there were speakers, and there was one particular speaker talking about niche marketing, finding your niche, deciding what you want to do, and learning, honing your skill on that and concentrating. I came back from that particular congress and was like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We love it. We understand it. I grew up with a big Indian influence in my family, even though I'm not Indian. We had big contact with a very special Indian family. So grew up seeing all of the festivals and the weddings and things. And then I just decided, that's it. I'm going to do it. We're going to concentrate on that, learn about all of the different denominations within that. And that's what we did. It was quite tough in the beginning because you have to say no to other weddings and wait until you get enough and grow.
Yes.
During that period of time, we had the first one that we had done. We had another one coming up a year later, but in between, we had to look like we were doing something. So we did some photo shoots and started to build it. So we looked that's what we were. So we started to grow it like that. And I just decided that we wanted to stick to that. At the time, the niche was Indian or Jewish. Yeah. I'm Jewish, so that helped.
Oh, okay.
And over the years, the last 5 years in particular, 95% of our weddings are Indian. We still do have a few Jewish ones, in which we never turn those away. And we have actually had some mixed Indian and Jewish, which is really nice. And you bring the two different cultures together, and we try to incorporate something of each religion and culture and background into the weddings.
Yeah. And how did you decide to become a destination wedding planner? Because I work with a lot of different wedding planners in the wedding business club, and they want to open their market, but they don't know how. Like, what was your take on this?
Okay, so it kind of happened by default because I worked in London. I grew up in London, and I worked in London in the fashion industry. Went from that to fashion, organizing fashion events and fashion shows. Went from that to organizing music events and music shows and things like that, and loved events. Loved events of all kinds. Then I moved to Spain 21 years ago, and I just got divorced as well. So worked for a beautiful cortijo in southern Spain, And
what is that? A
cortijo? It's a Spanish house. It's like a Spanish, not a villa. It's, with the lovely Spanish courtyards with the fountain in the middle, that kind of thing. That's a cortijo.
Yeah.
So very stunning. So I worked for a very lovely cortijo. And during that period of time, they wanted to increase their private luxury events. So weddings and special occasion events and everything. So I started to build that for them. That was going very well. And then the building got sold. The cortijo got sold. And so that was kind of, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And at that time, I thought, I love this. I love weddings. I love doing events and all that kind of thing. So I thought, okay, maybe it's time to start now by myself.
Yeah.
So actually, I was going to start with a partner. And it was somebody else that worked at this venue. And we talked about it and we went through the motions. And then at the last minute, she decided it was too much like hard work, really. So I did it by myself and started small, slowly, doing smallish weddings. I was living in Spain, so it was destination people coming into Spain. But I also, because I used to live in London, had that big connection there. So I did Spain, Costa del Sol primarily, because that's where I live in Marbella, and then London. So I did a lot of that. And then over the years, people started to ask me, do you do Portugal? Do you do this? Do you do that? So the destinations grew and I would go and spend some time looking at the different destinations. And really, as I say, it was by default because I was living in Spain. And then when I started doing weddings, people were coming into Spain. So that's really how it started.
So the trick is actually starting to move.
Yeah.
And right, like organically starting.
Yes, you have to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere. You have to go out and start somewhere.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere. If you want to start straight away in a niche, then I would say, okay, what do you want to do? I'm mentoring a planner at the moment that's just starting her own business. Yeah. And she's decided now that she wants to do multicultural weddings. Yeah. So it might be a Spanish person with, I don't know, she's got one at the moment, a Spanish person with a Nigerian. Yes. So you've got two different cultures coming together. Yeah. So you need to, if you want to niche, pick your niche. Yeah. If you just want to do general, start somewhere. Say, okay, pick a destination and say, okay, I want to focus on Spain. Yeah. So then choose a couple of locations in Spain, go and investigate them, find suppliers, meet some venues, do that, start with that. And you'll find that once you're in it and you start with one place, people will ask you about another place. Yeah, yeah. And then you need to do your homework on that and then start to offer different places. Yeah. But slowly, start in one place, I would say first for people that are coming up and want to find their feet. Yeah,
we also did it organically. First, people started to come inbound and then we started in Spain. It just happened. And then Italy, and then it grew because we had the photography for it, the videos and everything that you need to have to show that people, the destinations, right? Because what you show is what you get.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and what would you say, what is your take on luxury weddings? Would you say because not all destinations are per default luxury weddings, not all destination weddings.
No.
So what do you think about this luxury
weddings? So what's a luxury wedding?
Yeah,
is a luxury wedding because they're spending a big budget? Is a luxury wedding because they want it to be very elegant and stylish? It's all a bit, it's all relevant to that person. Yeah. But luxury weddings per se in the sense of people thinking we're spending a huge budget. We want to be in a fantastic location that has wonderful views, has incredible cuisine. It's everybody's perception of luxury. Yeah. So that's a funny one because you can have the tiniest wedding with not such a huge budget. No. But they want everything just really the best of the best that they can have for that point. Yes. Yeah. The luxury where we're spending multi-millions is a very different kind of thing as well. It's a different client that's perhaps more spoilt and more entitled and more used to a particular style of things or the way things are done. And part of the luxury is the care and the service they get. Yeah. I think that's part of the luxury. Yeah. They want a luxurious service where they have, whether it's their planner, their team, their venue, is all
used to
impeccable and what they're used to. Yeah. But that's part of the luxury. When they give we tend to give a very hands-on service.
Yeah.
So we like to say that it's more of a hug than a handshake.
Yeah.
So we get to know the families, the luxury of them having us by their side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's different to opulence.
Yeah.
And the overall luxury.
Yeah. What do you prefer?
The clients that I have and which I love are the ones that they are spending a fortune.
Yeah.
Indian weddings are all about family because we specialize in that. So they're very much about family. So the luxury for them is having me by their side. They don't want to talk to this one, that one, that. They want me there. They're paying for that to have me there. I like that. I like to be involved with the clients. I like to spend time with them and then to see the end result. It has to be beautiful.
Yeah.
It has to be carefully orchestrated, everything as it should be, good quality as well, to make sure that they have exactly what they're used to. You will get the clients that are extremely picky and very spoiled and nothing's ever good enough, but they have a different perception of luxury. Mm-hmm. So it weighs up the type of who's the ideal client. For me, it's the ones that want the beautiful setup, they want the beautiful location and venue, good quality, everything detail, very beautiful detail, but they also want the personal touch.
Yeah.
They want the luxury of having that personal touch.
Yeah. And how do you yourself live luxury in your life? Like when you see, because we see all these weddings, we see all this amazing food, these 5-star hotels. We were talking about becoming
we're a little bit spoiled.
Hotel princesses.
Yeah, we're a little bit spoiled. When we walk into a hotel now, and we're like, it's not for us.
Exactly.
No.
So, but how do you do it in your daily life?
My own life?
Yeah.
Well, I'm very fortunate that I live in a very lovely place that is considered a luxury location. I live in Marbella, so I live by the sea and I have a very nice lifestyle, luckily. You know, I work hard for it. My husband worked hard for it as well. Yeah. But luxury for me right now, after dealing with these stunning 5-star hotels, on a plane every other week, going to stunning weddings that are like 3-4 days long, my luxury is to be home, to be in my house, comfortable. Of course, I'm the best shopper in the world. I love to shop.
Me too.
I can shop. I can shop without leaving the house. I can shop during a wedding reception when they're all eating, they're all fine. I'm like, oh, I found something.
I know that,
I can do that. So I grab my luxury where I can. Yeah. But a big part of my luxury is my home and being dogs, home probably. And my dogs. I have 5 dogs. I know, and being with my husband, who's the most tolerant person in the world because I'm traveling all the time.
You need a tolerant husband if you do this.
If you're going to be a wedding planner, you need to have a good background, family stability, husband stability, partner. You need your backbone. You need your safety net. Yeah. Yeah. And somebody that levels you and grounds you, because also we're going to these really fancy places. Yeah. We're talking to these really high net worth people. We're dealing with all of that. And we live very nice lives. Yeah. But some of them are like, way. You know, they're crazy. Yeah. And you can get caught up in that so easy. Yeah. So easily. Yeah. You get caught up in this lifestyle that then suddenly, as we said before, the hotel princess is not good enough. But they ground you. If you've got somebody good behind you, and if you're intending to have a long-term planning business, you need that.
You need that,
Because otherwise, I've seen lots of people go off the edge because they just can't live in their reality. Their reality becomes their weddings. Yeah. And living, flying here and doing this and doing that, and they forget what it's like to be home.
Yeah, that's true. Where's your husband from?
He's Dutch.
He's Dutch. Okay, mine is German.
He's Dutch. Well, mine is Dutch, half Dutch and half German. Okay. His mother was German. His father was Dutch. He grew up in Holland.
Well, that's nice, right?
Yeah.
Because they're very...
He's very good. He was also an investment banker, so he's very savvy and keeps me grounded in that respect as well. Yeah. And when I panic about things, he'll make, we'll talk it through the financial aspect, because that's quite hard as well when you're starting. If you're doing it on your own, I actually don't think it's a great idea to be a wedding planner. In the beginning, fine, you're doing smaller weddings, but as you grow, and if you're trying to do the higher profile weddings, the more luxury weddings, you need to have decent and good, loyal, hardworking, meticulous people with you because you need to cover all bases. If I didn't have my team, I couldn't be here.
Yeah.
We've got so much going on at the moment.
Yeah.
We've got the next wedding at the beginning of May. So you need to build that. They're managing and dealing with everything back at the office.
Yeah.
And I can be here learning more, meeting new people in the business, in the industry, looking at new venues.
Yeah.
Because you need to be looking all the time.
Yeah.
You need to be finding new places, new suppliers.
Yes, of course.
You have your
all the time.
great ones that you love and you trust and we know that they're going to give you the best. But the clients, I don't know about you, but I'm finding that the clients, most of my clients are from the US. They want something different every time. And with an Indian wedding in particular, they don't want it to be the same as their friend. They don't want to go to the same location as their friend. Yes. I talk to them now and they say, oh, we don't want to go to Mexico because Mexico's done. We don't want to go to Cabo because it's so done and people have been there.
Like
and
Mykonos.
It's still beautiful.
Yeah.
But yes, like Mykonos. No, we don't want to do Mykonos anymore. Yeah. And in many places, even Marbella went out of trend for a while. And although I live there, I do less weddings there than I do anywhere else.
Yeah. We were actually talking the other day about trends, and I am so out of trends always. I always have actually the couples come to me and they come with something. Like they come with a kind of a trend or something they want to do, and that's how I get my trend.
You find out,
that's how I keep updated.
Yeah,
because I don't repeat what I see outside. It passes by. I don't know.
That's because we're in a whirlwind all the time.
Yeah,
and we're always running. We're always in. You don't have much time to keep, but somehow, whether it's coming to things like this or reading or getting someone in your team to see what the latest. I have someone that writes my blogs. And it's her job to find out for me what the latest trends are, what's happening, what's in this season, what's out this season.
Like, I have no clue. To give me the trends.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
But sometimes, yes, they do. The brides come, but sometimes they come and they have a vision. Instagram, a Pinterest is their big vision. Yeah. Not really realistic always. Yeah. Or sometimes they come and they have no idea. I have some that come and they go, well, I like this and I'm not sure. And what do you think? And how? So we have to help them.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to bring them the new things. Yeah. We need to bring them the new things. Yeah. But often they're coming. Nowadays, we're getting a lot coming with us, bringing us their whole presentation, the whole deck. They've done the whole thing and they send us the slides and we see this, the Sangeet is going to look like this and the ceremony is going to look like this and this one's going to look like this. So yes, a lot of them are coming with it. We still have some that have no clue.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure like the listeners and watchers are going to want to know, because all of them always want to know how we planners pick our vendors. And I mean, I have my method of how I pick my vendors and how I stay with them. And what is yours?
Okay, we have in different locations, we have some vendors that we just love, that we have found. We go on their quality, their reliability. Mm-hmm. I have to like them as well. Yeah, I have to like the people that we're working with. Yeah. You're spending a lot of time. You're talking to them for maybe a year about things. The reliability is a really big one, and that they're established. New people are coming up all the time. Every year we're meeting a new photographer or something. And obviously they have to start somewhere. So we're not saying we would never work with someone. In the first instance, we would recommend people that we know and trust. Mm-hmm. And then obviously sometimes we'll find someone new or I'll meet somebody at an event.
How do you meet them? Like how do they approach
Often
you?
I'll meet them at an event. Nowadays, particularly photographers, I get so many through Instagram, through our stories. They see us, and then they start to follow, then they reach out to me to say, we love your work. We would love to collaborate with you. Yeah. And then usually I'll have a conversation with them. Depending on whether, not all of them. I look at their work first and see whether I can see, is there any style?
It needs to match your brand.
Will it fit? Yeah. Will it fit? Yeah. Will it fit? And then we'll reach out and have a conversation, depending on where they are. If I'm in that place, maybe I'll meet them. And some we just know, no, thank you. Okay. You look at you can see that they're not going to fit with my clients. Yeah. And I know they're not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
exactly.
we find a lot like that. For the other suppliers like cuisine and catering, we're sometimes guided by the venues because they have their preferred case, they have their preferred list, and they're very particular about that.
Yeah.
With my case, because I always need to have Indian cuisine, I need them to be flexible because in some cases, like we do a lot of work in Barcelona, and now I'm quite established over the last 5 years there. The good venues, the castles, they know me and they know that I need this. So now they have collaborations, and they've allowed some of the top catering companies there in Barcelona now have a collaboration with an Indian catering company who wouldn't get into the castle on their own, although their food's great, but then they collaborate. So we meet them like that. And I look for them as well.
Yeah.
Depends. Because sometimes if we go to a new area, we don't have them. And we might ship in from somewhere else, but it might not be convenient or worth doing that cost-wise.
Yeah.
So we look at the different areas and we'll see who we can find. We'll go and see what their food is like if it's a caterer.
Yeah.
We'll go to their showroom if they're materials or decor. We'll go and see what they've got. But we look for them as well. We'll search for them. We'll look also on Instagram even and see who's coming up and who's looking good. We look at lots of different weddings to see. Then I look at their supplier list to see, let's have a look at them.
Yeah.
But a lot approach us now.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. For us too, we get a lot of emails, but I really, it's more like an active thing, not a passive. Like for me, if people write to me, maybe it's not the right timing. I'm not searching.
No.
And then it's more difficult. So I find it easier that I approach them.
Yeah.
It's usually the way.
If we do get something through from a new supplier that we don't know, I'll always pass it over. I have one of my girls who will deal with that, and I'll say to her, just out of politeness, please respond to this. Have a look at what they do. Ask them to send us some more information, and if we think it's worthwhile, we keep it in our in-house directory.
Yeah,
and then we know that another time, if we're I remember something, we can have a look at that. So we have a huge directory. Yeah. Some people will never use, and some will just write back and say thank you very much. We'll keep a note of your details, but we know we're never going to use them, but we're just polite.
Yeah. And your business is big, right? I mean, for a wedding planner.
It's a tiny business. It's a boutique business.
Yeah, but still for a wedding planner, it's a big business.
Yes.
Because wedding planners usually don't have like these huge companies. They're partner up, etc.
Yeah,
but you have your employees.
Yeah.
And how did you learn to do business? Like, the business part is a huge part of
that's one of the biggest parts, and that's what puts a lot of people off. They want to be a wedding planner. We were talking about it earlier. They want to be a wedding planner, but they don't want to run a business.
Yeah.
So it's something that's almost instinctive in me. Yeah. My father was an accountant and wanted me to be an accountant. I didn't want to do that. It's too boring.
Yeah.
But I'm very good with figures. I'm very good methodically with things like that. So some of it came instinctively.
Yeah.
A lot of it I just learned by doing, and I made mistakes.
Yeah.
Running the business takes a lot of energy and time, apart from the planning. And I think I learnt it mostly instinctively, or I realized I have to do this. How do I do this? I need to find out how to do this. I need to set up a proper company. I have fantastic accountants that help me with that, Hestor in Spain. And I have to dedicate quite a lot of time to that, particularly with staff, because again, a lot of wedding planning companies don't employ their staff.
Yeah.
They have them as freelancers. So they come in, they may have them only during the season, or they have one or two that they keep on out of season to help with the logistics and the planning. But I have all of my team are on a permanent contract, and I like to keep them that way because I don't want them to go and start their own business.
Yeah.
So if they have a good job and they're there, they're getting paid, they know that all of their taxes and everything are all up to date, they're comfortable. They're happy doing the part of the work that they want, and they don't have to run a business. So that's one of my reasons behind it. I want to keep the same person all the time. I don't want to have different people each season.
Yeah.
So we have the same face. Obviously people leave and they come and they go, and sometimes I've been really lucky because Jessica, who is my COO now, she's been with me 11 years. and started with me at 25, and now she's there.
She learned so much.
She's learned. She could run. Well, she does. She can run the company without me. And then I've got 2 or 3 others that have been with me 3, 4, and 5 years, and we're about to take on 2 new ones.
Yeah,
it doesn't always work. We've taken some that we think they're great, and they come with all the big ideas. I want to be a wedding planner, and after half a season, they realise it's too hard. Because it's hard.
Not so pretty.
It's not
as
pretty.
Everybody thinks.
It's very rewarding.
Yeah.
It is very beautiful because it's very satisfying when you see the wedding days come around and the decorator's just finished and the florist has finished and it's all stunning. And it's beautiful then. But they don't see behind. In fact, if you look on my Instagram, the girls did a little clip while they were in Seville last week of the backstage. And the 3 of them are sitting there looking very beautiful. You think we have a very, nice this lovely life. This is the reality. And they're sweeping steps and they're carrying things. And that's the reality of wedding planning. Yeah. It's the reality of we have to be a psychotherapist. We have to be an accountant. We have to be the budget manager. We have to be their friend, their shoulder to cry on. We have to help them with design and everything.
We do everything.
It's
budget,
putting everything together for them and keeping everybody calm.
Even weatherman.
And weatherman. And we have to become Red Indians on occasion and do the rain dance.
And we have to look good.
And we have to look great from 7 o'clock in the morning sometimes for setup until 4 o'clock at night when the last person goes on the shuttle. No. The last time that we had high heels was Jess and I did a big wedding in London, in Claridge's. Stunning wedding, Swiss couple, amazing, beautiful couple. And the wedding, and we thought, it's Claridge's. We don't have to do so much because we don't have to be lifting and moving. And I'm very impatient. So if I see something that's not quite right, I can't wait for someone to come and do it. I need to do it. We need to move it now.
Yeah.
So we were like, we can be in our lovely little outfits and our little high heels and everything. All we got to do is like move things like this. By the time the cocktail reception was over, Jessica came to me and she said, I can't. She's Spanish and she speaks perfect English, but still with a Spanish accent. I can't what? She said, my balls are hurting. The balls of her feet were hurting. And that's very Spanish. And she said, I can't. So we waited until they were at dinner. When they went to dinner, we didn't have other shoes with us because we were so convinced we could just do this. God. In an Indian wedding, no, we wear pumps underneath trainers because you can't. You wear a lenga, you can't see. Yeah, you can. So we left them in dinner. Everybody was at dinner. Everything else, we got the other girls like, okay, they're eating now. They don't need us for 20 minutes. We ran to Oxford Street. We ran to the nearest sports shop and bought New Balance pumps, trainers, and had them on. And people were like, hey, love the outfit, love the look with the silk skirt with the thing. It's like, we can't. So heels, no. Do you? Yeah. Do you wear heels?
I start with the heels. Yeah. When the guests come, I stand here nicely, everything, no? But when I see that when it starts like that, I have to maybe move something because I see something and it's like 200 meters away, but I see it. No. And it's a long way and it has stones, then I start to regret.
You have to change.
No, even because I'm sorry for my beautiful shoes.
I know. Like, you don't want to damage your shoes. I know.
Sometimes I buy like Zara shoes that look like look very nice, like the Valentino ones, etc. So I use them for the lawn and for the stones. But
I should do that. Can I tell a funny story?
Of course, please.
Okay. A wedding. Everybody sits down for dinner, and then they're all having dinner. And while they're having dinner, I tell the team, our table is over here somewhere. I tell the team, okay, you eat now. The photographers can eat now because nobody wants the photographer taking pictures of them while they're eating. So we're all there. We're sitting, and we see an older lady coming along, and she's holding a younger lady. And she looks a bit worried. So I look at Sarah, who was with us on the team that day, and I say, see if they need some help. So Sarah goes over and says, can I help you? And the older lady says, I don't know her. I just found her in the bathrooms and she's really drunk. It's 7 o'clock. We haven't even, I don't know.
She's like, what, the cocktail?
Yeah. Oh. So she's just finished cocktail. She's drunk. She's drunkly drunk, really drunk. So we say, okay, sit her down, we'll get some water and everything. And Sarah's looking at me like, help, please help me. She was quite young. So I went over and I said, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? And shall we get some water? Who are you with? Which table are you on? Would you like me to get someone? Yeah. And she looks at me and she says, I hate him. So she's clearly had an argument with her partner, whoever. I hate him. So I said, okay, can we get you something? Let me get you some water. And she leant forward and threw up on my Valentino sandals.
Like
on my
the
feet.
one with the beautiful knobs?
With the little stuff. On my feet. And Sarah, who was quite new to the industry, was looking at me, and she knows me with my shoes, and she's looking at me and she's like, I think she's going to punch her in the face. She's going to strangle this woman. I was very calm. And Sarah got me some towels and I took my shoes off and she took them away. And we cleaned this woman up and we found out where she was sitting. And I went and got her boyfriend and said, please take her away. Please take her home. She's very drunk already. We haven't had dinner yet. Please, she needs to leave. So they took her away. But yeah. And then she started singing because she looked at me and she said, you know, you look a bit like Whitney Houston. And she started singing, I Will Always Love You at the top of her voice. Yes.
Oh my God.
So yeah, Valentino sandals. Oh. I could never look at them again.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's really bad. I never had a guest throwing up actually.
That's the only time.
I had a guest peeing on the wall.
Oh yeah. Well, they do funny things. They think
I had royals peeing on the wall of a palace.
They
were like 22, 23. The kids of the royals.
Doesn't surprise me. Surprise me. Yeah. And it's like when with our Indian weddings, we have a lot where nobody's allowed to know they smoke. And they smoke a lot. They smoke. So they're hiding behind the castle walls or whatever. And you can see the smoke coming over. And they're smoking. And I go, no, please don't tell anybody.
Yeah, and it's the same with the alcohol. Yeah. We have weddings, Persian weddings, and they say they have no alcohol, but they have alcohol and etc.
We've had to do that where we had a wedding last year or the year before, and one side of the family, the groom side did do alcohol, but the bride side didn't do alcohol. Pakistani bride. And I think he was Nigerian. And he drank, but she didn't. And her family didn't. And her father wouldn't have alcohol there in the thing. But then they made a compromise where they decided they could have alcohol at the party, at the open bar later after the dinner. But we had to hide it. So we almost had to build like a forest. But we had trees like to hide the bar behind. Everybody knew it was there, but you couldn't see it. So it was fine for the people that didn't have the alcohol. It wasn't so we've had some funny things.
So we had a tea station where there was a waiter that knew that he can hand out alcohol. Yeah, but it was a tea station.
So you can't see it. Yeah,
it was a tea station. They
really are funny. Nice, yeah. But all the different customs and the different rules and the religious things, and we have to know them all.
We have to know. We have to know what they want.
We have to know them all. We have to understand their different religious requirements, the dietary requirements. Even in for us, we have to know. We have and a lot of my families and my couples and the parents in particular, because I don't just deal with the couple. I usually have the parents.
It depends
as well.
On the culture, but
in my niche, I'm dealing with the parents a lot as well. And sometimes I don't even see the couple until we get closer.
Oh wow!
So I know because the couple are busy, or they're studying, or they're just
they don't have
qualified.
Anything to say.
Not really.
Maybe
not really. Not really. So I deal with the parents. And sometimes when we're talking about the dietary requirements and the menus and everything, and I'll say to them, okay, do we have any Jain guests? And they go, you understand about that? So a Jain, it's a different part of Hinduism.
Yeah.
And it means that they don't eat any root vegetables, anything plucked from the ground or anything. So if we pluck it from the ground, we might kill the ants or damage the worms or hurt. So they won't eat anything that's like that. So they don't eat onions, they don't eat garlic or anything like this. So if we have Jain guests, we have to make sure there are dishes that are made without onion and garlic and these different ingredients. we also have different people that are fasting on different days. So I have to ask this.
Well, that
have we got
to.
different fasting and what are they? All of those things.
Yeah.
So it's quite funny and
it's interesting.
It's not just vegetarian or vegan anymore. It's all the other little combinations in between.
But it's nice getting to know all these other cultures and
super interesting.
And all these people.
Yeah. No,
and this podcast is called Wedding Confessions. So I love to pose this question. What is your biggest wedding confession?
Oh, like what? Like something that we've done or that the clients have done?
What would you like to confess?
What would I like to confess? Well, what would I like to confess? A not too terrible thing is that we always, at every wedding, and we might have 400 people, every wedding we have a sleeper. There's always someone that falls asleep.
From the team or from the guests?
No, from the guests.
Okay,
from the guests. No, not the team. From the guests. And we have a whole collection of photographs of our sleepers.
That's a good confession.
We love it. It makes us laugh so much because we'll see someone we had last year in a castle in Barcelona, Casa San Marcel, and the wedding, the party was going and there was a huge noise and there was a guy like this, but his chair was like this next to the dance floor.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 the noise. He was asleep. And then he just suddenly woke up and started dancing. But we got the picture of him asleep. We love to get our sleepers. We look for our sleepers. So we have a whole collection of them. We would never post them. We would never do anything. It's a rabbit. We usually, just there running. We usually share them with the bride and groom because they love to see that. They love to see that. So I think that's our guilty secret.
Oh, that's
we
funny.
Love that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So
you'll be looking next time.
Yeah, I'll be looking next time. That's a good idea. But actually, the parties, it really depends on the culture because we have Chinese clients that drink a lot.
Yes.
But then we have other US clients that don't drink a lot, and they stop the party like at 1 a.m.
My parties go on until last week. We were at La Baronia. We had a wedding in last week or the week before, and the last night they had 3 nights. We finished 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So by 4 o'clock on the last night, we're dead.
Yeah.
We're dead. And I never leave until the end. No.
Yeah, me neither.
Because you know that if you go, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Somebody will be calling you because they need you. We had one incident a few years ago now where the bride's father, 15 minutes before the end, 15 minutes before the last song, before the buses were ready to go, he fell and cracked his head open. Oh. Just after COVID, when we had just started being able to have bigger weddings again. Yeah. And we had to get the ambulance and we were just there. All my team, we were sitting like watching them and going, we did it. We can do the happy dance. Yeah. And we've done it. Another wedding done, all happy, everyone's great. And suddenly crack. So we had to get the ambulance. We were there another 2 hours waiting for him to be able to be moved because they came, but they wouldn't move him straight away and all of this. So we never leave. Now what we do is we don't all stay till the end. It's not necessary. No. We say maybe on one night, once 2 of us will go early or whatever. We'll go once the first transport is gone. And there's always one of us there at the end or 2 of us there at the end. Yeah. Depends on the size of the wedding as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, I never leave either. And I don't sit down. I stay there.
Yeah,
adrenaline.
There. Yes.
I don't even eat.
No, we don't eat.
I don't even eat.
No, that's the other thing that for wannabe wedding planners, get used to not eating. It's a bit like being a flight attendant.
And don't be a diva if you don't
And don't be a diva. I had a photographer who was a diva.
Oh my God.
Because he was hungry.
I know so many people who turn into divas
when they're hungry.
They
get hungry. Yeah, we had that. We had a photographer in Portugal. Beautiful photographer, but wow, when he's hungry. But if you want, for people that really want to be a wedding planner, there's a rabbit who's just gone there. I just saw him run there. Get used to it's a bit like being a flight attendant because your funny hours, you can start really early and finish really late with not even half an hour to shower yourself and change for the evening because if you've got, sometimes we have 2 events in the day. Yeah. So we go from the early morning, they do the early morning wedding ceremony, the Hindu ceremony really early or the Sikh ceremony really early. And then we have a lunch. Then they have a rest. They're going to do whatever, get ready. The bride starts hair and makeup again and all of this. And we're running to the next venue to check the setup, to make sure everything's there. Everybody's doing it, but we need to go and check it. And then we take our clothes for that evening and basically we swab ourselves down and get ready again.
No time for food.
There's no time for food. Don't ever think that you're going to sit with a glass of wine and watch everybody.
No.
That is the conception of what a lot of people think wedding planners do. We watch everything and have a glass of wine and we watch it very carefully, beautifully, and don't do anything.
No.
The reality is very different.
It's hard work. And we need to correct mistakes that maybe others do.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to correct them and nobody should know.
And things exactly that. We do it behind the scenes, either before people arrive or even just before. We had a situation a while ago.
When they're there.
We had a situation when they were in the cocktail on one part of the venue and then they were coming over to sit for the dinner to another part of the gardens and something was not right and I saw it and it wasn't working and it didn't work and I had like an hour. I was like calling, like, okay, who do I know that has this same decor thing that can get it here now? So I was ringing, did it, got it. They sat down for dinner, everything was sparkly and lovely and nobody knew anything.
Yeah.
Ever. They didn't need to.
Well, we had a problem one time that the caterer threw down the cake.
Oh, we've had a
that was the reaction of everybody.
What did you
silence. Do? Well, I repaired it.
Yeah, we've had that once.
I repaired it with flowers, putting it together, covering it. It looked really good.
We're arts and crafts as well. Arts and crafts as well.
Poor people that ate the cake though.
On that side.
Because I was like,
we had a very big in Malaga once. We had a very big cake with chocolate.
That happened in Spain even.
Yeah, because it's too hot. So
maybe
we had a big chocolate cake, and I had told the couple, were like, oh yeah, no, we want chocolate. I was like, it's too hot. We're going to have to keep this in the cool room, and then we're going to have to move it, and it's a big thing, and it's this big cake. Anyway, it was set up. The cake maker said it's all fine, it's okay, and I could see it sinking on one side. It was it was getting soft, so it was starting to sink on one side. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to collapse. It didn't collapse and they didn't drop it, but we had to kind of prop it up and get some other things to prop it, but it was soft. And then, like you say, put some extra flowers on that bit.
Yeah, and then one time I had the Tower of Pisa as a cake.
Oh, wow.
Coming like this. And the guests needed to walk by and the cake was there. So I was standing. Right there. I stood in front of the cake so that nobody sees the cake. No. I was like, here.
Hi, yes, this way. This way, please.
Standing in front of the cake.
Yeah, we have to do everything.
Yeah, everything, really.
We have to. I've had to sew a bride into her lenga because she had a zip malfunction. So as she was getting dressed, I had a, Dee, please come. It's like, oh my goodness, now what's happened? So I ran to the bride's suite and she's there crying because the zip on her lenga has broken. It's broken, but it's kind of broken with it all ruched. And then the zip bit is here, but everything's stuck here. So we tried, down, up, nothing, wouldn't go. So we had to cut it. So we had to cut it out, get some thread, and sew it. We had to sew it onto her. So very carefully. Wasn't very beautiful, but we had to sew it. Then we had to make sure that her head piece and everything was draped, so it covered where we tied it. We tucked it in this way, so it covered the thing. And then we had to cut her out at bedtime.
And how did she pee?
No, she could lift it.
She can lift it.
But she could lift it, but she couldn't. It wouldn't stay done up.
Okay.
The zip broke. The zip just broke.
So, we do everything.
So we're seamstress as well. Seamstress,
yeah.
We're like Mary Poppins.
Doctors, like even when they have allergies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then we come.
That's a difficult one because we're really not supposed to give them medication. But we do. We do.
Yeah, we do. I have my allergy drops also always with me, although I'm not allergic almost at all, but I have them just in case.
Yeah. No, we have our little medicine kit. Yeah. We have a little first aid box with us, even if the venue has, we have ours. And we can give them. And you need to have phone chargers and you need to have headache pills, and you need to have plasters, and you need to have tampons, and everything, because they do. Have you got a tampon? Like, you know, as if we. Oh yes, hold on, I just got one in my pocket.
We have.
Let me just see. I've got one here for you.
Exactly.
So it's everything.
It's
but
everything.
it's a very satisfying work.
Yeah.
It's very satisfying work. When the bride comes and the ceremony's happening and you've got to that point, then that's very lovely.
Yes.
It's still very
really
emotional.
Nice. I mean, the day of the wedding is the reward.
Yes.
We get.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Because the adrenaline is high. I feel like the queen of the day because everything is
you
there
made that
because
happen.
I made it
you made it happen. We got it there. We did it for them. And even if on the way they've been difficult or sweet or lovely, it can go like that. Bridezilla. We don't have so many. We haven't had so many bridezillas. We've had a few groomzillas. And a few mumzillas.
Oh yeah. There's a zilla for everything.
Yeah, we had that. Yeah. We had that, and or sisterzillas we've had as well. Who because
I had that too.
We have everybody involved, but on the whole,
it's amazing. Yeah. It's an amazing work.
It's an amazing work.
Yeah,
it's not for the faint-hearted.
No,
it's not for the faint-hearted.
No,
if you really if you don't have a passion for what you do, you can't do it.
Yeah,
you can't live it. It would kill you. You can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And look where we are now, right?
Yes,
we are in
us.
Sardinia. We have the amazing view. This is where our job brings us.
Yes, and we get to see so many different places in different countries, in different locations.
And people.
And we get to meet so many different people. And we meet so many... I've got friends all over the world that are planners.
Yeah.
That you come together in things like this and we meet and you connect and you keep in touch and... You sometimes help each other, or
you learn from each other.
You learn from each other. You can ask different questions. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. That it really is the beauty of it. It's quite something. Yeah.
Thank you, Dyana.
Thank you.
Really nice.
I really enjoyed it.
You.
Thank you. I enjoyed it too. Thank you.
Me too.